So we're going to have Dee Lusby kind of explain everything to us, and what site to go to for. We're going to learn everything about bees. Okay, now where we got contact or found out about her was from beesource.com, but that's a site in Chicago, I think. So we're going to find out, everything we can. We're going to ask her a gazillion questions, but let's go ahead and talk to Dee right away. Dee, help us out. How do we get the information from you about you, what you're doing here, and we want you to, become our new best friend. How we do that?
Well, I've been doing this for well over 55 years, so if people just put in D Lusby or Arizona rangeland honey with googling it in, they'll pull up more information than they ever want to know.
There you go. Arizona rangeland honey, is that it?
Right.
Okay, Donna's doing that right now. Arizona rangeland honey.
But D Lusby or Lusby apiaries or just organic beekeepers or organic beekeeping. I've got the biggest organic beekeepers list under Yahoo in the world right now.
There you go. We just missed it. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get that all up on the archive today. This is because I think you were found by another site that was talking about you. We just want to make sure we get the direct link to you. All right,
well, the one that I use daily for question and answer is organic.com.
Organic Beekeepers Yahoo groups. Okay, Donna's going to put all that up. She'll have it up by the end of the segment, and certainly for the archive, because everybody wants to know. I tell you why I want to know, because you're in Arizona, okay? So I need, this one thing, I do juicing a lot, and I've been taking local pollen for a long. I had really bad allergies as a kid. They thought I had asthma, and so we moved from Florida to Arizona. That's gonna help me out. I just remember always. I didn't let it bother me. I didn't get an inhaler and lay on the couch. I was screw it. I just go out and suck it up. And that's probably why it helped me a lot. But go out and play, and I just always had kind of this chest thing. Well, I just blazed through it. But what happened was when we moved to Arizona, it was almost as bad here in Phoenix, man. It's just a freaking jungle anyway with all the irrigation. But in Tucson, it's a lot more xeriscaping. It's more desert. And a lot of people come when I go out camping or in the desert, I felt a lot better. And then here as an adult, I remember I was like late 80s, I'm going out when the blossoms were in bloom for the orange orchards and everything. It was like I was walking into a cloud. I could feel it. And then I started doing bee pollen. I took bee pollen, locally produced bee pollen, added it to my diet. All my allergies went away. And I'm going, right on. Have you heard that before?
Uh-huh.
Well, tell me why. What is it that's going on there? I mean, that's the biggest reason I want you to be my new friend. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, the honey and the pollen is especially the pollen is what's been copied by the pharmaceuticals for all the different various vitamins that are on the market today for vitamin deficiencies.
So you're just better off just getting the bees.
Well, yeah, because the pollen's the real thing as long as it's clean.
Well, define dirty and clean pollen.
Clean is what the bees take when they're properly sized, from the small medicinal all the way to the largest that they can get into for plants, versus being taken, say, with migratory to a specific monocrop or something that has pesticides or chemicals put upon it that then breaches it because they can only gather just a small majority of what they need for their whole spectrum of life, for all the pollen, because when they do it right, it's all the colors of the rainbow and not just one specific.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So when they take and do the 1,000 hives into the cotton fields of Iowa, De La, whatever, and they just get one kind of pollen, it doesn't give them the broad spectrum of goodies they need to really sustain what they're doing.
Right.
Well, the thing is that's one thing I talked to. He won't come on air. Now, you probably understand this more than most. It's a big, I think it's in northern, it might be northwestern New Mexico, a large bee company. I met the owner. And he was telling me all kinds of stuff about, colony collapse and all kinds of problems out, and they take out 2,000 hives and they go to pollinate, and all of a sudden the bees don't come back. I mean, so they're going, and I go, well, you got to come on and talk about it. He goes, no. No, heck no. And that is a verboten subject. Tell us about what the controversy is, what's going on.
Well, that's been going on since the 60s, because I used to do my migratory, and then I stopped when all the politics got going and all the dopes with the pesticides and the treatments got going, because I used to, with the government, do workshops with the BIP program, which was the bee indemnification protection program for reimbursing beekeepers for bees that were killed.
Whoa. Time out. Let's start over again. All right. You're saying that in the 60s, there was a program.
It all started over with the almonds with the West Coast, starting to put the various treatments in the different orchards for prettier fruit like Alice in Wonderland through the looking glass. See how pretty it is, but it's so damn fake and artificial and sickly, you really don't want it.
Well, when they were doing this, it was killing bees and they were compensating you?
Yeah. Well, we were fighting them, see, because it was an indemnification program. We started getting our first big losses, and then it got into a tit-a-tat back and forth fighting, and the bigger outfits that didn't like it, some of us just backed off and said, the heck with it. Other ones said they were getting even, and it got back and forth to no one really knows what's going on because they don't know the history of it, but it's just been back and forth game playing and fighting for money ever since, for getting even on both sides.
So there's been the beekeepers could see that now their colonies are being decimated. They got problems and issues.
But the new ones don't really know it, and most of the older families where Dad and Grandpa started and all the stuff got going, they don't know how all the schematics came into play. Because if they were going to lose, a lot of them just went over there and decided, since that was the startup, they just start splitting bees and everything and make them pay for stuff that was half the size, getting half the bees, and the hell with them if they were going to put dopes on everything.
Okay, so I want to make sure I understand what the issue is. Okay, let me go ahead and phrase my question.
Okay.
There was a fight with the government that when you're allowing these industries put this stuff on the plants and it kills my bees, that I want some kind of takings or compensation, give me money?
There was a beekeeper indemnification program for reimbursement, whether it was cotton crops, almonds, citrus down in Florida, the cotton fields all along the Mississippi and Missouri and stuff, that if the chemicals were applied wrongly, then they would get reimbursed for the dead bees. But then so much was being killed.
Rest of the story.
Okay.
We're right back. I want to get right back to D Lusby. Now, let's go ahead and you got me interested in this. This is one thing that I want to share with the audience. The problem is, and let me emphasize this a little bit, is that without having been around to see the cycles of what happens with the government and how you get, regulatory capture by companies and interest and growers and Arthur Daniel Midland, De La Monsanto, whatever, they go in and we got to have government regulate and do, and as soon as you create that kind of authority, all of a sudden it comes with limited liabilities, certain levels that's not pollution. Well, this part's not pollution. Yeah, but it caused but we decided that this number's not pollution. You can't do pollution, no suing, no pollution. And I'm going, really? And then in the beginning, they'll go after, people like yourself that are damaged by certain policies, and they'll pay off a little bit or say they did, or it's a political move, or get somebody elected one congressional 2-year term, and then all of a sudden it goes away. And nobody knows about this unless you lived it, unless you were there. And as an activist since the late 80s, 25 years I've been doing this, I've been around long enough to see these cycles in everything. You go back further to where Dee has been doing this since the 60s. It is from your experience. So what you're saying is as you went around the country and you would have beekeepers that would pollinate, enormous cotton crops on the plantations on the Mississippi River, De La in the southeast, and we're going into the orchards, California and Arizona and everything. A lot of people don't know is that Arizona, you add water, it grows. We're like number 1 in cotton, or used to be, number 2, 3 in citrus. You add water to Arizona, it grows. So there's a need for bees. So I'm going, all right. Now, in this process, all of a sudden they have all kinds of new chemicals and everything, and people, environmentalists, screaming and doing whatever. So what they did to keep you quiet and shut up is they said, we did this program. Well, this program, they go, hey, man, we need to start collecting on this program. And so they go, well, we didn't mean for it to be that much compensation. We're just going to stop doing it. So pick it up from there.
Well, it's a whole picture. It's a lot more than that for what they've done for killing everything off to take control of food, which means you control the planet. Because it's chemicals, what they're doing with the crops. It's the size change with the hybridization of all plants, animals, and insects, and it's the way they're teaching in the box, so you can no longer think independently anymore for correcting things.
Well, define that. I mean, they're defining what the box is. Is this kind of weird? Been the Eisenhower thing? We're taken over by a scientific, technological elite that you're not allowed to know, and you only any smart people work for the service of the government, and the government's interest is not yours. I mean,
well, a lot of people originally growing up were taught at home, and then they got into schools with here's the book you follow. This is what you have to do. You couldn't do it with any other source. And now more and more you have people going back to online over the internet schools, or you got at-home schooling again, which for a long, long time was just taken away so they could be uniformly taught across the whole nation, so no one would fight from region to region.
Well, why? Okay, so by doing a national one-size-fits-all, this is the truth, a la comes from the top Department of Education, standard of, and here's some money, they are able to just eliminate any understanding of what's really going on, or the ability to even experiment or to share it. But with the internet,
mm-hmm. Well, that's like saying one shoe fits all. So if you can't wear the shoe, you're the hell out of luck. Bye.
Oh, but with the internet, we're able to find D Lusby and say, hello, tell us everything. So now let's go ahead and I think we're going to be having some more shows. Now, what happens is you are in the industry and you finally decide what? You and your husband kind of went, we don't, I break with Dee, we don't want to do this anymore. Did you get your cut from the government? Did you try to insulate yourself? Did you move to Tucson to get away from it? Tell me your story.
Okay, well, to be honest with you, my husband's side of the family is the 6th oldest in the nation, and I still have control of the oldest bee yard in the country going back to 1921 down on Alexander Graham Bell's ranch in southern Arizona.
Whoa. So you're the woman, okay. So.
And on my side of the family, where my family came from Germany by way of Canada over Niagara Falls back during the early 1900s. I'm one of the, like the 4th oldest or one of the oldest out of the European side for continuous beekeeping, doing too with agriculture, and we just happened to meet on up.
Yeah, you guys.
And then we put both sides of the picture together because he knew the politics on this side. I knew the politics on that side. Seeing my husband's family with Lusby were all State Department and governmental people from way back when.
Well, what is it that you see we've got? I hear the term, they say, regulatory capture. And I came to understand what that meant is whenever you start hearing in the news a number, oh, we have so many of this happening here and that happening, this is an important number, we got to change this number. And the second you hear government and media start talking about a number, the next step is there's going to be some government program to alter that number.
That's right.
Here it comes. And then when you got that regulatory body to do that, well, then guess what? The very guys that are supposed to be regulated are the ones that take it over and do whatever the heck they want to the detriment of, like freedom. And I'm going, okay. So the beekeeping industry, let's talk about that. We're going to
you control bees, which is the bottom rung of the food chain. You control agriculture, and agriculture, with all the old big families in this nation, is the main representatives in Washington for some reason, which means you control this country, and it's nothing but clique fighting with the top 50 in this country against the top 50 in Europe or Southeast Asia, and then it just pyramids up worldwide.
So it's a food thing.
It's a food thing for control, because when you check history from the study of honeybees being the bottom rung comes all your basic construction, navigation, schooling, also all your vitamins, your minerals, which is all your pharmaceuticals. The study of propolis with it is all your natural healing when you go back to all your workshops to Egyptian times for all your cancers and your different things with your body. And you control it if so much came from it with the study of between our navigation, our building, our medical, with the propolis, the vitamins and minerals. You control food. You control with the bloom whether they can have livestock and keep the ranches and farms going with the stuff that's grown. You control the world.
Wow.
And there's a reason for controlling beekeeping.
So this was recognized by you when? In 53, 72?
All the old families grow.
Hey, Dee, let's go ahead and make a list of some stuff that we want to make sure we bring up, because we got 2 more segments, and I want to make sure we get the goodie in.
Okay. Well, you could cover just about anything, because chemicals is big with people right now, but they don't realize that a lot of the chemicals are the same chemicals from the 60s that were destroying things with new names. It's like you change the name, like you change the medical name to keep it going, so you keep your patents going, so you keep your money flow. Then you have the different hybridization and size changing of the bees, which changes the diet, the breeding parameters, and how plants and animals live on Earth, and that is mandatory. Then you have the way stuff is taught that has changed to where it's teaching in the box. And what most people don't understand when they hear colony collapse disorder, which is just bees dying, is that they think it's what's being sprayed on crops or what's being done. But, CCD is not caused by one factor, such as pesticides. And it's whether you're watching like a film, reading a book, an article, listening to a speaker. If they say they know what the cause is, and it's a single factor, that is BS, because even the top research institutions and bee scientists in the nation, like Yale and Rutgers and your bigger universities, Ohio State, say that CCD is most likely caused by a perfect storm of several factors, and it's all converging at the same time, put together for what's been done for manipulation of the bees, for industry control, for controlling our nations worldwide. And that is wrong, because it's a money factor for gouging money for lining pockets.
Okay, now when you say CCD, what's that?
That's the colony collapse disorder that says is with the use for bees dying in general. And what's so bad is that the highest concentrations of pesticides found in beehives that are killing them are now beekeeper applied pesticides that's been taught to them for how to do by our own researchers, because they've been bought out by the grants where they're getting money for how they teach on how to put the dopes, drugs, and crap into our beehives. And that's our food chain, and you want to eat that stuff?
I prefer not. We have local beekeepers here that I've just I purchase. He cuts off the wax on the end of it, lets it drain on a cookie sheet into the jar. I get it done.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, okay. And that's what I go, well, hell, I can do that. And give me a beehive.
Well, yeah.
So this, well, can we purchase a beehive from you? How much is that?
Oh, I don't sell bees because it's just me working anymore because my husband died in 2006 due to the stress and all the political fighting we were having with the feds and scientists and everything trying to do stuff properly. People have no idea what is going on.
Okay. Well, here's your opportunity to share. I mean, this is it.
Well, I don't mind sharing. It's just that most people don't want to hear it straightforward.
That's me. I do. Okay.
Well, we'll soon see.
You don't know me. Here we go. Now, D Lusby, she's of the opinion that, nobody really wants to know what's really going on. She's like, I've been through, nobody really, she doesn't know us too well, do she? So we're going to go ahead, give her an opportunity to express herself. Now, let me go ahead and give you some of the issues that off the air, we're making a list of some of the things that I want to make sure we get in real quick. Chemicals are the same as in the 60s. They're just under a new name, and it's a patent thing. And you keep changing, there's little Monsanto crap and stuff, and you getting, they're by it. How are you going to change life at a fundamental level and not have a fundamental change at a fundamental level, a fundamentally, kind of fundamental? You know what I mean? I mean, long-term, big, giant kids growing up in chemical soup of, I'm like, damn. So that's why we're doing the aquaponic thing. We got, we had goats, and we just got rid of our goats because we're planting a bunch more stuff. And we got, 20 chickens. We have aquaponics that we're doing, just getting the fish and the vegetables and so on. But, what does that mean? I mean, it's about time for the bees. So we're going to be talking about the bees. Hybrids of bees. What kinds of bees are being done? Why? And you have this colony collapse disorder. They're just saying it may not be any one thing. It's a perfect storm of, from cell towers down to genetically altered pesticide, Roundup, Monsanto, GMO, kind of whatever. Then you have the poisons that the actual beekeepers are putting in their colonies because they're being taught through BS education. Oh, well, then you need to do this and do that and, fill the tray with whatever because it's going to be better, make more money. Liars. And then, how much is it to get a hive? And where will we go to get that? And her husband recently died in a few years ago, and she believes it's from the stress of dealing with this Fed thing, doing what? Let's start with that. Your fight against the Fed, and what were you fighting, how, and what were the issues?
Okay. I'm 10 years old. Okay. I've done workshops since my 20s and 30s. In the 80s, when I married Ed Lusby, I ended up with a contract that I wrote that the USDA signed off on, which you don't see too much. But when I was in the military during Vietnam, and I am a Vietnam veteran, I wrote rules and regs. And so I know how to write contracts. Anyway, I wrote a contract, and we had a working agreement with the government to teach them and show them on a technical exchange of information to go after to see if we could control the mites that was becoming more and more a problem in this country. And that's when mites, which are ticks, which is like varroa, which is like tracheal mites, which is what all the dopes and pesticides in a beehive is about, because they gotta having pests to be able to put something in to keep the chemicals and the different things being sold.
Okay, you lost me on that one. There's something to do with mites. It has something to do with you wanted to control the mites. You wanted
we told the government you do not put dopes and drugs in a beehive. It kills. It breaches the immune system. In other words, it changes the in-house co-host existent parameters that have been there for millions of years, built up through the generations, which is evolution going forward for healthy life. You do not put poisons and things into any animal or plants living
And expect a good result. Okay, so while you're talking to them and working on this, the contract was for what?
The contract was a technical exchange of information. So we'd have a working agreement because my husband, his family helped build the Tucson lab, along with several other labs throughout the years as the migration came west.
Okay.
And since we helped build the lab, and we used to do a lot of the bees and provide them for the major government labs, I told him when we got married that it just wasn't going to be done unless it was on paper, so we could see what was being done. With me being ex-military, I wanted to know what the heck was going on. So where they had the libraries and that I had access to for pro and con, and then what people that I knew that were with Washington and that where I used to write rules and regs agreed with me and just told me to, on the side, dig deeper and see what the hell's happening.
So what is it that you think was really going on?
Oh, you would. That's where the fun starts.
Well, you got about 2 minutes before the break, so give me.
Okay, what I found out first, looking within the first 2 days, was that the mites and ticks, they were starting to broadcast big time, had been known worldwide and in this country since pre-1917. It was nothing new. All the AHB stuff, it was nothing but a scam that had already been done and worked on Kelly Island back in the 60s, that our government had spread around more so than anybody in the field ever would, and it was just scam after scam after scam. And then in the meantime, for showing them how to run clean, that was something we wanted. And then how do you get those people off of the dopes and drugs and running clean so it can be taught clean for clean food, which is clean life, which is healthy families, so you don't end up sick with people in hospitals.
So there was a government effort to institute chemicals as we're going to, better life through chemistry, and
It's like empire building. You have a job, you have a person waiting a grant at you, and most of the grant, here, fix this problem. Well, if you don't have problems, you don't have extra money, you just sit there bored. And a lot of them wanted workers and different things and big labs and this and that.
To what end? They were looking to take pharmaceuticals or petroleum products and just chemicalize every aspect of agriculture?
Yeah, because you'd always hear in the back, but there'll always be bees, like there'll always be insects or this or that or the other. Of course, that's back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and look at us now with the poisoned world and everything going downhill.
Okay, so the motivation, I still haven't got the motivation from you. The motivation for them doing this was to sell chemicals.
Was money in their pockets, grants and gift money and different things. Because people don't realize they're setting donations up, they're setting foundations up. There's the old gifting way, with a lot of them still do, which is what Mo Udall told us to do, because that was the clean way.
Mo Udall was a congressman here in the 70s, 80s, right?
Oh, he was a beautiful person. Him and his family, the Udall family was great.
Okay, so now this is all of this you said. What people don't want to hear is the one thing to distill down into the 30-second is that there were government-sponsored efforts in every aspect of agriculture, including, of course, it had a big impact on the bees and the people started complaining.
This is when government first started really getting bought out and started the empire building, where, to me, people say, Monsanto Bayer or this pharmaceutical or that pharmaceutical. This is when the grant money started, and it was like building a home base it's like a money gig to show how good I am for clearing up problems, when technically the road back was undoing what physically was done to put stuff wrong in the beginning. Wrong, and fix that.
Okay, well, we're off now. We'll be back in 4 minutes, but I want to warn you. The reason people don't want to hear it is you got to say it. You got to skip to the end. You got like 8 minutes that you're going to have to be able to. The last part of this show, we're going to have to do another show. Donna, go ahead and send her communication, see if we can get her scheduled again in another couple of weeks, and we'll try and get to more of these, history. I mean, just the stories, anecdotes, I think is the most amazing thing. But you want people to hear the story, you got to tell it. I mean, I need to skip to the end because we're going to run out of time. So the thing is that I'm looking at, do you want to talk about the stress that you think killed your husband, what the actual battle was?
Oh, no, you don't want that, because that was when you have your place burnt down and you've got every fire department in Tucson going to your place to try and keep you alive. It started a bunch of stress and strokes and seizures that was unreal with him. And that is a matter of documentary with video by your biggest TV stations up in Tucson. That's probably still on file back in 2000.
So you were physically attacked by the man to get you to shut up.
Let's put it this way. Within 7 days of when my husband had a fight with the head of the Tucson lab, our place burnt to the ground. We were lucky to get out alive. And we had the main industrial out at the Palo Verde overpass, then next to all the big gas tanks and everything else, and they were afraid the whole central in industrial park there would blow up in the center of Tucson, and it was something that just sent shockwaves around everything. That's because it would have blown up a lot of the center of Tucson.
Okay. So I'll mention.
And that's a matter of record.
Okay, no, I'll mention that real quick, then we'll get to some of the other things. One of the things is the natural honey. We're having good luck with. I mean, a lot of things, you hear this stuff, but you don't know it until you actually start trying it. A friend of mine started off simple, like an ingrown hair on his abdomen, and he's picking at it and got infected, and he had this big thing, and we were up camping. It was getting worse, and we were like, problem, we might have to go to the doctor. And this guy had this natural honey, and in 2 days it's healed it up. He goes,
I used to do workshops on all that with the holistic healing with honey and pollen and propolis, and they stop you because it's like telling them how to do medicine without a license, and they threatened to put me and my husband in jail and they stopped all our workshops.
This is the kind of stuff that we want to see. This is all right. You don't know who I am or who we are or anything, probably. A real short version is we are libertarian freedom activists, leave us aloneism kind of for 25 years, my wife and family and friends and our audience and our website and our magazine, our newspaper, all the stuff that we do, that's what we do. And I'm the one that created the Ron Paul Revolution logo. When Ron Paul ran for office and that revolution sign you saw everywhere, I'm the one that created that logo. So these young people, I can see, and we help them express themselves and do whatever. That's a lot of our audience, is they need to relearn all of this stuff, and they are enthusiastically embracing it. They are starting to do sovereign living. They're living off grid. They're growing their own food. They're teaching their kids, pulling them out of the government schools. They're starting to see exactly what you're talking about, and they understand, and they need you as the conduit to do this, and we're more than happy to start with the shops again. I mean, let's go. I got 2 acres up here. Let's do it. She's gonna help it because she used to do a lot of this stuff. Let me go ahead and just rattle off a couple things real quick because I can do it faster and we skip to the end. The honey is a cure for a lot of stuff. I'll tell you this story. When we were at the Jackalope Freedom Festival just last week, a couple weeks ago, 4409 Shelton had been picking at, he had a little cut or something on his abdomen, and it turned into a hole. I mean, it was infected. I'm like, damn. So we're out camping, and it's not clean out camping, and it's dirty thing. And we're thinking, man, we got to go to doctor and shot and Pests or something. And one of the guys there, Dennis and Karen, they they're more mature people that been around, and they're all about tinctures and the desert plants and all this kind. They said, look, this guy is selling the natural honey over there. Just put the honey on it. Just put the honey on it. Put the bandage over it. Problem solved. The next day, it closed up, started getting a lot better. The infection went down, kind of, and then it wasn't sticky. It just absorbed into the skin somehow, just like went away. And I'm going, okay. I asked Dio, she goes, yeah, we used to do classes. The government stopped our workshops. No, you're not allowed. You're getting that. Then You know, and all these battles going back and forth with the Fed, the lab that they help create and start, and kind of all of a sudden there's a big dust up and everything. 7 days later, big giant fire, burned them out, burned down everything. Here it comes. Heck no, we don't need you, you troublemaker. So I'm going, wow. It's all about knowing the people that lived it. Dee, how far off am I?
Not very far.
Okay, so this is one thing that the workshops have stopped. I have no problem with you coming up and visiting with us. We'll put you up for a day or two, and you can come visit, and we'll get some Hive, and you can help, and we'll do a class, and everybody learnify, and you can just spend the whole day chilling and vacationing by the pool, and you can give a class in the pool for all I care.
Well, I do a yearly thing now for 7 years, but it's up at Oracle at the Triangle YMCA that I do yearly, but it's beekeepers coming in, and only beekeepers allowed to talk how to do clean beekeeping.
Well, what I got to do to get you to come up here and visit?
Well, I got to be able to get around my work schedule since I'm the only one working 700 hives by myself trying to keep things going.
Well, what about we come down there for a visit and do some HEP? You got a big giant list of young people in there with some backhoes and stuff. I mean, bring a a shovel and on a plan, and we'll go down and you share with us. We'll provide labor to you. How about that?
Well, it's driving out to the different cattle ranches and working beehives.
Oh, my favorite thing.
You'd have to put a bee suit on.
Especially.
Drive an hour out, an hour back, and you might be out in the field 12, 14 hours.
Oh, I'll pay extra for that. If you're willing to work with us, I know a lot of people that are very sincerely would like to have this knowledge not lost. Seriously. I mean, isn't that your goal? We'd like to have, this knowledge not lost, and there's nothing better than spending, a full day of working out and whatever. You go and you're tired and you learn something, you talk around the campfire, whatever, and you go to sleep, you get back right at it. Man, we'll go out and pitch a tent and camp and RV right there out in the middle of let's do it.
Well, it's not out there. It's just going out, and then they come back here, and they're in the office talking as we go over all the different work for 30 yards in 3 counties.
Done. Next. Okay, I mean, if you're willing, we'll work it out.
Whatever.
All right, let's go ahead and do it. I'll have Donna talk to you. We'll set it up. Maybe you'll wait till it's a little bit cooler because we're wimps. But we'll go ahead and set this up. We'll make a excursion. I can you tell me how big a group you want. I can get it from 4 to 40. Or 400. It's just, so we'll work out something to do that. I do not want this information to be lost from someone if we just sit there for hours and people just ask questions, you download this information, you start giving, names and dates and places and programs and chemicals and this, and this thing that they're doing here, they called it's a third generation, the name of whatever the heck they called it back 40 years ago. It's the same battle. It's just you didn't have the voice back then. You may have had a magazine. You may have had a fax, tree that you would send stuff out. You had the communications with, and you go to different conferences once a year. I know how it works. I've seen this happen on industry after anything from, energy efficiencies to alternative energy to food growing to livestock to everything is like this. And they kept us in the dark, and we weren't able to communicate. The internet has totally changed that, and we've embraced it. And I want to share what you know with it. You're in freaking Arizona. It's a crime if I don't have all the people that want the very knowledge that you have and you want to share. We don't make the effort to go down and do it. We'll do, whatever. We'll have, a masseuse come for you. Get your hair done. Give you a foot massage. Whatever it takes. Make your day a nice day. Done. Done. Okay?
Okay.
All right, Donna's going to work it out. You do some research on me and Freedom's Phoenix, and you start to find out, you'll go, oh, these guys are serious. Yeah, we damn skippy. We are. Now, the one thing that we're going to come across as we do this is that, how forceful is your opposition and where does it come from? Is it corporations or government, or have they merged to be the same thing?
It's high international politics.
Really?
Let's put it that way.
Okay. Well, can you give me an example? Give me and the reason is what? Just population control, population decimation? Or they want a collapsed hive to be the collapse of the population of human beings? What's their goal? Say it.
You control bees, and I'm serious. You control bees. You control agriculture. You control food. You control the environment. You end up. This is how the world has been controlled back to Roman times, and people just. It's a lot of them. It's just above their heads as to what's being done.
What is your view on? I tell you what. Have you ever even heard of aquaponics? You know, the fish and. Look it up, azaquadome.com. AZ for Arizona, azaquadome.com, and you'll see what we're building here. And I'm out right now. The audience hasn't seen the pictures. I just wanted you guys to know. Yesterday, I started building the shell, started sewing it, and doing it kind of it's very pretty colors because I want it to be pretty. But we're, finishing this up. We got the rock in. We're starting the pumps. We're growing the bacteria that we need. We'll be adding the fish here and within days. And then we start, here come the plants. And this is a mechanism that's one reason why we need the bees. We want to make sure we get pollination because that's been a problem. There hasn't been enough insects. Is this known throughout the bee industry that we're losing that capacity to pollinate and that's a real threat, or is it just all hype? Is it a real problem?
It is worldwide, and it's been a control thing that's been growing since the 1900s, since change was started, making bigger bees and bigger and better fruits and animals that have no bearing or fitting in with nature anymore. Until nature goes back to ground zero and you come forward again, nothing's going to be fixed. It's going to get worse and worse.
Well, that's one thing we see a big, giant push for heirloom seeds, for natural, no pesticides. Yes, I lose 10% of my crop to some insects, and they're just food for the birds that get the other ones that don't I don't care. Because their big thing is, our apple's prettier than yours. It looks like,
Bigger is not better. It's less, and it's more unhealthy.
Yeah, it's like Snow White.
and people just don't realize that. It's like through the looking glass, looking at stuff that's going to make you sick. It might be pretty, but it don't mean squat in the real world.
This is the information that I want to give you, some hope and encouragement for what you've been doing. I'm glad that you've been able to survive long enough to see that it's changing. The entire world is changing. It's Generation Next, and we do a magazine, and we cover a lot of this stuff. And in our next
say that it can be done, and people want to do it. Well, when it comes down to doing the real work, this is where the line crosses, and many walk away because they don't want to get their fingernails dirty.
No. That's not us. I mean, this is okay. We're off air now, and we can continue this and go ahead and record it. But I tell you what's going on. Go ahead and start it again. Go ahead and have him move. Go ahead and start another. We'll do a fourth one that goes on because I want to include this. Did he start another one? Yes, no, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So I was talking to my producer. All right. So you got to communicate with me, man. I ain't got time to do it. So what I need to do is we'll go ahead and set time for us to go down there, and I'd like to get.
Now, my only problem is I'm not a normal beekeeper. I'm in international politics, which means that, for example, the 1st of September through the 15th of September, the country of Japan is paying for one of their best researchers to come over here and work with me.
Oh, no. I'm hip. Somebody that's been doing this generationally this long. I get
okay. And then from the middle of September to the 1st of October, I've got a person coming in from Bulgaria, from Europe. So I'm swapping information from both sides of the world that I then put together so I know what's going on from Japan to Taiwan to Formosa to Southeast Asia, with what's going on in Bulgaria for what he knows from Germany and Russia and Europe. And then during October, I already got 2 people coming out of the Gulfport states that are some of the best, that work with some of the best queen breeders in this country for the behind-the-scenes stuff. And this goes on nonstop, 24/7 year-round. And my organics list on Yahoo that I told you about this is question and answer daily, so when I come in from the field, I might not even go to bed till 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Now, I have complete understanding. Let me tell you what we can offer and help. One, we have, a very large audience of young people that are the doers, that go out and they build their own homes. They farm their own land. They dig their own wells. They, make their own science, growing nanotubes and nickel iron batteries and going in. I mean, these are the people that they have so much understanding of this libertarian philosophy that government is not there to protect or help them, that they have totally bypassed that as a source of information.
Well, this is good, except that where I told you my husband died, where we got burned out because they wanted us stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that has gotten close to me from 97, 98 forward has either had families threatened, burned, businesses put out of business. I just went through 2 weeks of having all my transmission lines, my gas lines, my electrical lines on my vehicle redone that were either cut or fracked or had to be redone so I wouldn't explode my vehicle driving out in the field.
I am of the opinion...
And a lot of people do not go through this, let alone fires that are specific to where my bee yards are year after year after year because they don't want me going, and yet I'm still going fighting it.
You just need to do some research on who we are. I'm telling you, you have no idea what we do. This is, and we, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on. And we've been doing battle with the big bad boys for a long time from a fundamental standpoint of just understanding, how to recognize who the bad guys are. And it's real simple. They always say, they this, they go, they who, they, them, those. And I go, let me tell you who they, them, those are. There are those that just want to be left alone, and there are those that just won't leave you alone. Which one are you? So
I can talk. I know I can't go into specifics by name with government because then it's a liability thing. But for how to run clean with no dopes, no chemicals, and how to clean up the hive so you can be running clean bees within 6 months or 90 days, that's not a problem. It's just that most people do not want to do the 24-hour-7 work involved with it because it's a difference between putting a quick fix in with the dopes or changing something that then means working with the bees in tandem with your range, your temperatures, and the way agriculture is supposed to run. But if you're real ag, you need to do it so you're doing real farming.
Oh, I have complete understanding, and this is exactly what we want to learn and share. And we have a lot of capability through video and our magazine and newspaper and website. And, if you go to... Do you have the individual ones on just the... Donna, do you have the individual stories on the Freedom's Phoenix, or are they just on the Third Hour Archive? Okay. Go ahead and send her the link. It'll take us about an hour to do the editing of the video and the audio and all that kind of stuff. Donna will send you a link so that you can see, what we do and what we're about and how it's going, and we'll go ahead and get that to you. And if you do a little bit of research, you'll see that we're very sincere in this. And we have a next generation that needs, wants, desires, and willing to put forth the effort and drive down and be your labor for whatever. You do a long list of, I need ditch dug here, and I'll share with, and we'll make it happen.
No, it's not that way because, I have a main thing, and I do have two 20 by 60 foot buildings that are work buildings, but the bees are out in the hills where the work is. Other than that, I'm working out in the field. I might cut grass around my buildings, Well,
I'm just offering. It's great when you got a bunch, a dozen young people with strong backs willing to do some actual work.
It don't work that way with bees.
No, I understand, but I'm just
saying.
Because
you get more than 2 or 3 people in a bee yard, and it sets them off, so you get them stinging because you're in their flight paths.
No, I understand. No, my point is just mow your lawn, wash your dishes. I mean, I just want to help you. You know, so we'll work on that because I know how busy someone because you're an activist, and for someone like you doing this, it's a lot of work. It's a distraction. So I'm trying to counter whatever.
I'm not a housekeeper. There you've got me right, because I wasn't raised to do housework. I was raised out in the field.
Well, we want to, whatever it takes for us to be able to, glean. Because I think it's, I'm 52, so I'm probably older than a lot of these younger guys, but I'm kind of the mid between your generation and them. But I have the understanding of how important it is just having experienced and lived through a lot of this stuff. It's not like reading it in a book. It's knowing it. It's actually seeing it. It's when you look at the pollen, you can tell what's in it or not in it. When you look at the bees, you look at how they react. You look at the plants. Just from the experience of just hanging out. And we have a lot of these people, some senior citizens that are retired up here in Sun City that were CEOs of this company or mechanical engineer, whatever, or a farmer of what you call it, and they're very willing to share with these young people. All I got to do is just put them together and let them sit there and drink beer for 8 hours, and all of a sudden you passed on enormous amounts of information to the very generation that you were hoping to get. I'm providing that opportunity. That's what I want to do.
Right. Well, with beekeeping, it's people that come out, like I say that, like the wine guy from Japan that's coming for 2 weeks. By the second, third, fourth, or fifth day, with hands-on, sight-on seeing, it starts sinking in, because you have to know it when you open a hive by sight, by individual hive, what you're looking at. And until you've seen it for 200, 300, 400 hives day in and day out, it don't sink in what you're looking at.
I have complete understanding. And as much as you can share with us, that's why I know it's going to be more than just a day. I mean, it needs to be kind of a process, relax, weekend, camp out, kind of we'll be, and you come visit we'll put you up and get nice weather, kind of something. We'll work it out.
Okay.
So this, I am sincere on, we've been looking for a bee person to have half your knowledge for about a year.
Well, I used to do all this because I was the state association president for the state of Arizona, and then I got so pissed off when they started changing all the stuff along with the cattle and the cotton industry way back in the I'm the one that deregulated the Department of Ag and Hort and changed it to a Department of Agriculture in the state. I wrote the rules and regs for the cotton and the cattle industry where we work together, but when I did it, I told them I was wiping the books off for the bee industry, so we had freedom to keep bees, seeing what was coming with the other states trying to take full control, and I'm glad I did. We don't have any bee laws in this state.
Yay, and we want to keep it that way.
But I'm the one that did that because in the military, I'm one of the few that was taught how to wipe the books in Washington to change stuff as to how far back they need to go so they can rewrite and come forward to clean that mess up. And there's stuff you teach to very few people.
Wow. So we have I don't got to go, not that I was going to ask permission anyway, but I mean, so in Arizona, I go get me a hive, put in backyard, done.
But the American Bee Federation, the Nationals, and the honey producers, I used to be on their board of directors way back when, and I watched where I helped them get going, and then they got bought out and taken over, and then the people that were running clean are no longer doing it. And that's when Mo Udall, that was one of our main reps in this state that ran for president once, he told me never to do foundations, never to do a donation-type company or anything where they can have a board of directors vote you out and take what you used to own or put together and change it.
Yeah.
Just do the old gift routine, and if you do anything with teaching, do it with your own clean people. So my Oracle thing that I do the last 7 years to bring it home for clean beekeeping, I refuse to let scientists come in and talk, because if they're going to talk dopes and chemicals and how to put into a hive, they certainly ain't come into an organic meeting and all of a sudden say they're clean, because you don't talk with a double tongue.
No, I'm hip. We have way more understanding of this than you realize on so many different issues. And see, what we've done is I keep referring to Generation Next. Generation Next this, Generation Next that, the young people. And mainly we pulled our children. We have 4 kids and 4 grandchildren. And our 4 kids are like 23 to 28, around 24, 20, around in there. And that's mom's job. But what happened is that we took them out of government schools. God, and the oldest was like in 3rd grade. I could see where this is going. I go, hell no. And so we have benefited, and our grandchildren have benefited enormously from just bypassing that toxic, flow of information into their heads. And that saved our future, our life, our ability to be grandparents and enjoy ourselves, just that. So anybody says, what do you think I should do? I got to get them out of government school. But what about government school? I mean, blah, 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 blah. Anything you do, whatever, if you got them in government school, you're up against a constant deluge of crap.
That's in-the-box training. So you learn to accept anything the government teaches you as being for real, and normally that's the worst stuff you'd ever want to learn.
Well, this is what the realization is of Generation Next. These young people in 07, when Dr. Paul first... See, we have a thing every year, another thing we do called Freedom Summit. Our next one's in February. And we've been doing it for, since 2001, like 3 weeks after 9/11 was our first one. And we have all the big boys. I mean, a lot of the people, you probably recognize their names, that we knew were going to be in the freedom movement and very influential, including Dr. Paul has spoken at 3 of them. And what happened was we could see that it was going to be an enormous renaissance of desire for truth and real information by the young. They're like, what the hell happened? The 70-something-year-old congressman nobody ever heard of from Texas changed the planet. And Dr. Paul cured their apathy of government. Got all these young people involved, but I knew something as a young activist, and I said, I run for office all the time, but I haven't voted since '02. I'm like, if you think voting's going to make you free, you haven't been paying attention, So I'm going, you see the Ron Paul revolution, and we really pushed that and libertarian philosophy and get the government out and deregulation, and I want to have raw milk and get Arthur Daniel Midland out of the, leave me alone and all this, GMO crap and blah, 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 blah. But I'm going, don't ever think it's going to be some government solution. It's cultural. It's the information like what you have that is passed on to Generation Next using the internet. And they have an interest on any subject like bees and have access to the kind of information that we accumulate and we can share, and hands-on and video and people talking, and inspire the very people that change the planet that are now, what's the difference between an anarchist and a libertarian? And the answer is about 2 or 3 election cycles if you're paying attention. And these guys have been paying attention. They have abandoned any of this idea that government's going to fix it for them. They don't even want to fix the regulation. They don't want to... And they don't care. They're just looking for raw data and information, and they'll start fixing it themselves. That's where you come in. Who better to have from an understanding of decades and decades and generational understanding of a family to bring this information into the next generation that not only has the interest but the capability of sharing it with the younger people coming up, with video and graphics and audio in this show, and being able to live it themselves, and they process this for people to be able to, they're learning it on farms right now, right, not later. They're doing it like we're doing with our Aquadome thing. That's why we want to bring on the bees. You're the person I've been looking for. And I'm going, okay, so let's take advantage of it as quickly as possible and show that we can be really good friends, and let's do it. I'll take the risk, and they're going to come after me, whatever. It won't be the first time. So I'm going, let's rock and roll and whatnot. I'm going to have Donna talk to you now. Try and set up a time of when you think your schedule might open up, when you think that we could even contact time. I don't care. I'd like to do it before the end of the year. What we try and do is we have a bunch of festivals and different things and all kinds of activities and stuff. We're busy until we get into November, because at the end, this might be something you want to go to. at the last weekend in October before Thanksgiving. That's why I had to get rid of the goats, because we're planting a bunch of pumpkins out there in the fields, and we're going to have the Great Pumpkin thing. And we have Valley Permaculture, Urban Farms. Greg Peterson and I are good friends with the Urban Farms, the Valley Permaculture people I have on. We're doing the Aquaponic thing. And right before Thanksgiving, before Halloween, we're going to have a big harvest festival on like a quarter acre that we have out here, and everybody's going to be trading and doing and, having a good time. So I'm featuring the aquaponics and so on. So when we do that, then November and December, we try and take time off for friends and doing fun stuff that we want to do. That might be the time that we go out. We just got a couple of days ago turkeys that we're going to be first time butchering of turkeys for Thanksgiving, and Christmas. I got to learn that. I haven't. I think I butchered like one bird one time taught by my uncle when I was a teenager. And other than that, now I got to go be farmer. So we're learning that. We're going to share that with the audience too. So during about that time, while we're doing all that, that's where the bee thing will come in too. We need to get us a hive. So we're going to need, Donna will probably be contacting you, another day, we've got time. Maybe she'll talk to you a little bit here where we might get a hive. Who will we contact? What search terms do we need? Where would you want to get it from? We don't want to get it from here and there because we need to get some bees out here now. So we're going to be working on that. That's why we're talking to you. So this is where we're coming from. And I think that this is a realization of what I hope that you're looking to do. Pass this information, this desire, this understanding to the next generation. And at the core of that next generation that has the capability to transmit this information via communication with the internet and videos. And I got videographers, we got other radio shows, we got other activists that want to just suck your brain dry of everything you know about bees.
Well, I used to do all that, but then when my husband died, I had to pick up a $500,000 mortgage. I'm down to my last $77,000, and that's why I'm working hard to get this year's crop in. And next year's, and then I'm free to go back to doing schools and workshops again, but then they don't want me doing that.
I do.
And every time that I get close down is when I'm either vandalized or I have fires or burning or something, so I keep working.
See, this is one thing that I try to emphasize. They want to know how it is I get to do the stuff that I do and maintain and I'm still alive kind of stuff.
Well, see, all through the 60s, 70s, and 80s, I could do what I wanted, but I had no mortgage until my husband died. You know what I mean?
No, I have complete understanding. And I'm just, I hopefully we can help. See, my thing is that if you're going to be on a list, be on top of the list. It's safer there. So that's, why I'm so open about a lot of the stuff that we do is because if I'm not, we get the same treatment you do. But
I'm trying to get my crop in now, and it's right now I'm ending up what came in with the rains July 1st. I'm taking honey. Then I've got to go around.
Do you need help?
Well, I got the guys coming in from Japan and Germany, so I've got plenty of help for September. But then for fall flow, once I'm at a certain point, I sit and wait for the first killer frost, and then I extract, which could be from Thanksgiving in through the end of January. But while I'm waiting for the last killer frost, even though I'll go to yard at a lesser pace, then I'm doing more maintenance type work, which is something a lot of people don't see because I'm repairing boxes, wiring, making foundation, which is something nobody teaches in this country for how to be self-sufficient.
See, all this is stuff we need to know. I mean, there may be, a couple of trips we need to make and document. We have some of the guys that they make their living on videos, doing YouTubes.
Well, there's no one that's wanted to do a full school series on it because with the politics, everyone that tried very seriously, either their families were threatened, kids hurt, or they were burnt out of business. And I know at least 4 major companies that were burnt to the ground.
Yeah, these are individual acts. Come out, they got to take out 70,000 of their closest friends. You know what I mean?
But if they want to do a whole series on how to do it, there's spring workup, then there's maintaining through your active season, for your main flow, what they call it, May, June, July. Then there's your phase down where you're taking the honey that came in, getting your refills. Then there's your fall workups. There's how to do the brood nest turnovers when they go from long-lived bees to short-lived bees, from short-lived bees to long-lived bees. Then there's how to see the difference between a strong hive of a weak hive, how to make your nukes.
Hey, it sounds like we need a class on what classes we need.
Well, it's not as simple as different people think. It's an ongoing process.
No, I understand this. My thing is that, let me tell you how the process starts, us starting it. Everything, all this stuff, well, then you have to go, you know what? It starts with us going down there and stay overnight and you telling all of these people that are interested in what you just told me. That's how it starts.
Once you see the field, people that have been here that are serious for 2 or 3 days, like when Osterlin came over, Eric Osterlin that worked with Brother Adam, he freaked out and he was back 7 times and he still hasn't seen it all.
I have complete understanding. Don't think we've been doing doing aquaponics is not, I just, plug and play, especially when you're, customizing it and developing it and using a waterfall feature for the pond that we have with the plumbing that goes over in a geodesic dome that we created to build the blah, 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 blah. I mean, we got skills. We're ready to rock and roll.
I mean, there is so much that's linked with bees that's been covered up. It's unreal. See, and most people don't realize the building of the pyramids was done by the study of the bees, because the bottom of the hexagon cells that the bees built are all rhomboid pyramid shapes that they were copying.
This is... Yeah, see, I really look forward to spending time with you. I want to, let me go ahead and get Donna on, and we'll start setting out some kind of times, or at least your schedule when we should contact you again, or maybe a weekend that we can plan, what I really need is a limitation on the size of the people, because whatever you give me, I can max out that many people.
Well, when I do my conferences and workshops, I haven't done workshops too much, because like I say, when Ed died, I had to pick it up, but I'm down to my last... If I can get the crop in between now and December, where they're coming in from Japan and Bulgaria to help me set up for fall, since we had decent rains. Hey, once I'm under 30,000, where I had a $500,000, they thought I'd never pay off. They were rid of me. I'm coming up fighting. That's like the phoenix coming up out of the ground. You ain't going to want to know me.
You mean like Freedom's Phoenix?
Let's put it this.
No. I'm with you. Okay, here, Donna, go ahead and wait for just a second for Donna. We'll try and set up a schedule because, I like you, we're busy doing stuff. I need to get a weekend.
Well, I don't mind a schedule so much, because I do my own timetable, because I'm my own work person. It's just that when I've got certain people coming in with the country's paying for them coming, then I got to be... Like I say, September is pretty much off.
Okay,
other than that, I'm pretty much free to schedule and go as I go, as long as I stay on top of my field work.
All right. Well, what we can do to help? All right, here, I'm going to put you on hold, and Donna's going to go ahead and get with you, and we'll see when we can do it. Hold on. Again, the bee lady, and for the first time, she gets a distinction. Let me tell you what your big distinction is. You ready, Dee? I'm going to tell you what makes you famous. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. Here it is. Out of thousands of hours that I've ever done, I have never, ever, ever had a copy, that where we put our stuff. Never have they made the claim that we had a copyright violation. And this is what happened. Donna went on the internet and selected some JPEGs and just said, here's a bee and there's a bee and there's a beehive and some bees and some of your stuff and a bee and a bee. And somebody somewhere heard about it. They have a Google alert on the news, they're talking about bees and your name or something, and they freaked out and said, copyright violation, want the Vimeo video taken down of your thing because it had pictures of their bees along with your show and the bees. And I went, wow. That's never happened. And certainly, of talking about the internet. So, somebody doesn't want to be associated with you. And I'm going, wow, does this surprise you?
No.
Why? This controversy on the bee, it might have been a lot of the content that we were talking, because we did a bonus section too, and we're going to get it back up on the video. We just play the audio in with some other pictures and make the file and put it in. But then, this morning, our video computer went out. All of a sudden, it's a newer computer. We've only had it a year or so, and it does this. It's just for doing video, and boom, the motherboard fried. And I'm going, wow, coinky dink. So I'm just going, this is and that's a point that you and a lot of people in the industry have made. And you're the first person that has such a pedigree, and we'll get into that in a little bit, on the bee issue that has been willing to talk. And I've talked to big company owner doing industry they know, and they'll be more than happy to tell me the search terms on bee collapse of, colony, whatever the heck, and do this and look for that, and this company and that, and this chemical, and these people that sell it, and what. And all right, well, come on the show to hell no. No. So I get Dee to do it. How old are you, Dee? Do you mind me asking?
I'm 66.
Okay, so you're a youngin'. Okay, I thought you might, to be willing to talk. You might have been, older. Okay, so you youngin'. All right. So 66. Let's go ahead and talk about, real quick, I'm going to ask, get people up to speed and get some questions. One, how many generations has your family been doing bees?
Close to 6 on my husband's side and over 4 on mine. I'm the 6th oldest family in the United States on his side, and yet my family came out of Europe and went over the Alps by way of Canada, coming here way back with World War I and II. I go back as one of the original families way back in Europe too, so I can put both sides together politic-wise that a lot can't.
This is it. This is amazing. Now, one of the other things that in our past review I found that was of interest is that in Arizona there's no law regulating individuals having a beehive in their backyard, right?
That's because I got pissed and mad and had the laws wiped off the books.
Okay, so there were laws and you got them taken off. Tell me about that.
Well, I was president of the state association, and the politics started going. And what big commercial beekeepers we had in the state at that time banded together and said, if we don't do something, we're going to have complete to one by one pick us and do what they want and put us down, and we don't need that happening. What do we do? And I said, well, since I wrote rules and regs in the military at numbered Air Force level during Vietnam and did base inspections, I know how to take care of that. What do you want done?
I can write it. Okay. So you wrote it. And it said, thou shalt not do anything.
Well, let's put it this way. It's freedom to farm. And
wow.
That's what our country was established with, freedom to do it, and then we'll see. And yet a lot of states have tried to follow. They can't do it. They don't know how, and I ain't going to tell them because they will not stop the doping and the crap.
Okay, so your problem with what was concerned about it? Is it the chemical companies? Is it pharmaceutical? Is it agriculture in general? Is it the government? Is it some foreign entity?
No. Because all the governments and everybody, this has been going on for thousands of years. I mean, you can go all the way back to Rome when Rome fell, and we're in that same situation now. Will we be able to keep going, or will we fall? We're in that time frame now where things have topped out with everybody playing their little gigs. but it's all a pyramid effect. If you think about it, with the top 50 best families in this country, the top 50 best in Europe, the top 50 best in Southeast Asia, that then go up to the top 10, the top 5, as to who's going to control what. It's all click fighting, and it has been for centuries.
And so what role does bees play in this? I mean, how does that come in?
You control bees, you control the world, and that went all the way back to Roman times, and then the 2,000 years prior to that, when Southeast Asia with India and Pakistan was the lead capital before Rome fell. In time phase before that, when things fell.
So how is it controlling bees? Was it just food production? I mean, is that...
You control food, and you control bees. You control health, because from the study of bees and the use of bees comes all our pharmaceuticals, all our vitamins, our mineral knowledge, comes our construction knowledge, our navigation knowledge, our how we follow the climate for heat and control, and how to live. And without bees, there's no plants, there's no pollination. So you take the bees away, you can very easily put a country down, because without bees, there's no food, and it just goes on and on and on.
Well, I mean, you're advocating that, that the collapsing is, a lot of things, but I mean, as an individual farmer, can individual farmers benefit themselves by just getting their own beehives? I mean, Donna...
That's the way it used to be.
Well, what changed?
We got a more modern country. And with more modern people, you have people hired, because you got to build your little empire and hire more and more.
Okay, so your advocacy is that if individual farmers, they want to get more production, just get your own damn beehive.
Well, you get your own beehives until the mono stuff comes in, and then they buy up stuff, and it's mile after mile after mile of the same stuff that does not occur in nature, and then you got to start doing the artificial stuff to...
I tell you, Dee is saying that, it's been falling for millennia, and it all comes down to whatever it all comes down to. It comes down to, like, breathing in and out, and, food, air, water. I mean, kind of simple stuff. And I can see how it has been such a mind canary kind of thing. The bees have always been, even movies, even when I was a kid, the bees, the earth attacks the people. I remember this one movie in the 70s. It was really, pushing that concept. Bees, 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 bees. So when it gets into where I find someone that's in the industry and I start asking questions, especially here recently when we wanted to get our own bees here, because we're going to be doing, a bunch of little farming and so on, we need some bees. We don't see enough bees. So I'm going, all right, we'll go ahead and do that. And we start asking questions, talking to people, and they go, oh, no. We'll throw you in the right direction. We'll talk about... And when she did, all of a sudden, we get attacked for a copyright violation of some JPEGs that Donna got off the internet that somebody says, and I don't even know what the claim they would have. You don't want anybody knowing or showing a JPEG, don't put it on the internet. I mean, it's a bee. I mean, seriously. Why do you think that happened, Dee? What is the controversy? I don't understand it.
Controversy?
Yeah, I mean, why is it they're so clandestine about sharing what they know in the industry? I
don't know, because I've always been very open.
Which has made you a target. What's happened, you got burned out at one time when you went up against it with the lab.
Well, that's playing king of the hill, the old politics. And besides, you need to start by going right back to basics. For what's basic biological beekeeping, you need to go to the basic history of it, and then go deeper and deeper and deeper until it changes around.
Well, what is it, the main, why is there such a, I didn't even know it would be possible that you would be able to use various chemicals and so on to try and control, or is it to heal, or is it to get more production, or to focus, or try to supplement?
Bullshit. That's not needed. It hasn't been needed for thousands of years. Why is it needed now? It's all people wanting to sell stuff.
Okay, so give me the sales pitch from the chemical companies and all the beekeepers got to have this potion daily, whatever.
I am not a chemical sales pitch. I'm a clean type person working from the other side. You want to hear it from the other side? Let's go back to complete basics and bring it forward.
Okay, well, that's fine, but I want to know what their sales job is, or some salesman trying to go to you and say, you need to buy my chemical de la whatever to do something.
No. That's when you just lock the door, shut it, and tell them to get the heck out.
But, I mean, what are they trying to correct? What is the problem?
They're trying to correct what was done all the way back from the 1890s forward for, quote, bigger is better, to try and make more food, and yet everyone that did it was in for it for money.
Well, I mean, money's a motivator.
Yeah, but it keeps piling on, and getting deeper and deeper and deeper till it's so deep. It's like Rome in the end. It's going to collapse, fall apart from bad breeding to bad food to bad chemicals, and in the same time, it destroys our health and our families for when we never needed that stuff. I mean, why would we need that if we used to eat, say, cauliflower and avocados and fresh red meats and all different things for our own health? We're not allowed to do that no more.
Okay, now if I was to, we advocate and have an impact on just a cultural, diversification of everybody just do-it-yourself thing, I mean, how large is a hive? So if I get bees, I mean, there has to be like, I would imagine a minimum number. I got a queen and one worker bee. I would think that probably wouldn't do it.
That's part of the problem, because what's been taught for what hives are is completely different from what they used to be.
Well, define that for me. I look at a hive that's kind of, a
normal hive when I grew up, and I'm talking 50s and 60s, okay? From preschool to teenager to early 20s, okay? Normal hive used to be a hive, what we'd call 4, 5, 6 deep tall, which means a hive as tall.
You have those squares, those little boxes. You're saying it's like 5 of those stacked up as one hive.
At least 5 deeps is average. It used to be an average size, 4 or 5. If there's anything smaller than 4 deep, it was like, gee, I'm sorry, your hives are sick. What's wrong with them? Nowadays, heck, they're working with little 4 and 5 frame hives that aren't even a third of one box.
And the reasoning is what? They just can't sustain them bigger?
No, there are people that are teaching them don't know what hives are, which means you got people teaching that don't know beekeeping from squat.
So their advocacy is like, well, you're having problems, you're not getting it, you need this chemical, this medicine, this powder, this...
They're shoring them up with bees, which means to have babies do adult work, so to speak, and yet you're having to shore them up because they can't work because they haven't grown up yet.
Okay, so how would I, because we're interested, we're going to be coming down out in November. We're going to go ahead and, get learnified. We're going to do some video. I already got an email from the last one from Bulgaria or wherever it was, Bosnia or something, saying, hey, man, do videos. We need to have more videos of what Dee's doing.
They'll be out here in September working with me.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and, do what we can. But I tell you, if I'm going to get a hive, I want to go in my backyard and kind of, do for my plants and everything. I got to get 4 of those things or 5 or something. I mean,
no, you only need 2 or 1, maybe 2 up to a backup. So I'd say about 2. But even for pollination work, 2 hives used to be it for about each. You need to know more than 6 in a square mile area. Nowadays, they want Christ. So many units, it's unreal.
Well, I mean, what is the optimum beekeeping philosophy? I want to get bees. Why would I even want to get them? Do I need them? There aren't other insects. I mean, is this affecting, we're having to do the bees because all the other insects have been, decimated?
Bees,
what?
Hey, if bees are this sick with all the pollution, with our water, from all the chemicals put in for sterilizing, because you got to have it clean, not like we had for thousands of years drinking. let alone all the chemicals and dopes. There's no rotation of crops or anything to keep good vitamins and minerals going into the soil naturally or anything. I mean, if the bees are hurting, you think other parts of nature aren't too?
Well, I'm in my swimming pool. You know, every now and then we'll see some bees around there and going. I'm just wondering, you know, pool water chlorinated probably isn't health food for them. You know,
well,
so
you got to put that in to keep the bees and other things out. But hey, if it kills them, and
ask Dee, how complicated is it to keep bees? I mean, how much work needs to be? Is the best thing is, you know, the less you do, the better? I mean, or is there something a lot you got to do? I mean, how hard is it?
You really want to go into it?
Yeah, I want to know. I'm going to do it. I'm in my backyard. You know, how much work I got to do.
Well, you just can't say that. You have to go into just some very quick, basic concepts. I can run through that real fast off the top of my head if you want me to talk.
Please.
Okay. Well, let's start. Biological management of bees and beehives is really not new in thought, but it's seldom practiced anymore. I mean, basically, it's similar to beekeeping the way Grandpa used to do it around the turn of the century. It's pretty much simple, universal in principle. It's economically feasible, and it's enjoyable. That's the way it was for thousands of years. But because of today's conventional drugs and chemicals used in the treatment of, say, bee diseases, pests, parasites, or, I would say as a rule, only aimed at masking, suppressing the symptoms of stress. Technically, they have no place in a long-term program of biological treatment control, and they only add problems for beekeepers to contend with. Why do we put up with it?
I mean, that's what we're trying to find out. You see, the thing is, they call it the Hegelian dialectic, or they create the problem and then offer themselves as a solution. And I'm wondering, you know, the problem is starting to come from what? I mean, you're saying that a lot of the problems we have is coming from this monocrop thing.
What they're doing is making stress, and yet stress is an important symptom. It used to be a signal, which is it's initiated, say, by the beehive's own defense mechanism to attract help so the workers know what to do and how to interact. It's what we should be looking at so we know how to help them in healing it. And to suppress and mask the symptoms of bee diseases, pests, and parasites without finding out why it's there and try to eliminate the underlying causes of it by cause and in effect, you'll never get to solving the problem. I mean, can't they understand it's of vital importance to realize that the various symptoms of bee diseases and other are not negative, they're positive, they're constructive symptoms initiated by the bees themselves for their own healing to restore balance?
Well, give me an example of a symptom that they're trying to fix, you know, with chemicals or whatever.
Look at all this mites and colony collapse disorder, for example. Number one. But it's no one thing.
Okay, mites. Define what a mite is and how they're affected.
It's a tick. It's like a tick on the back of any livestock animal.
So there's itty-bitty baby mites that get on bees?
Yeah.
Okay, and they come from where and why?
Why? Because they're food. And yet it's nothing bad. And when this is understood by the beekeeper, then he'll not waste his own and others' valuable time masking symptoms with quick-fix remedies of dopes, drugs, treatments, artificial feeds, when actually it's beneficial in the hive for what they're doing, working in a coexistent relationship for living that they have for millions of years.
Oh, so here you have something that's just a... You know, it's like having ladybugs in your garden. You just assume they be there, okay?
And yet some say, oh, look, a pest, and they try and put the pesticides in and kill them until they figure out what they are.
Okay, so what we have is, here we go, is we got a mite that's on a bee, and they'll have some pharmaceutical chemical sales guy come up and bring out one of their bees and put it on a microscope and go, look at that, you got a mite on there, you need to buy this chemical.
Oh, it's terrible, it's just terrible, it's going to kill them. Bullshit. It's helping the bee, and they don't know why, and no one wants to teach the beneficial side that's been there for thousands of years.
Okay, All right. So now I start, getting kind of a beat on it. Well, the thing is that the people that are advocating what you are, just leave them alone, and that it's not a problem to begin with.
Well, you just can't leave them alone anymore after 100 years of what's been done by the governments, because there's so much to undo where everything is screwed up worldwide now. So, and you got to put the whole picture together.
Okay, so what's your advocacy? What do you do? I mean, is there you're going to give them, bees back massages or something? I mean, what do you think should happen?
Oh, this could get long. You
Waiting
might
on
be
you
talking to me a long time.
You got 3 minutes till the break. Go.
Oh, I don't know about that, because it's a known fact that honeybees and mites have been on this earth for millions of years and survived nice together. It's just that the beekeepers have to adopt a positive attitude that will aim at eliminating and correcting the underlying causative factors, which mainly is the bees being out of tune due to manipulation by man that has them off balance now. And with things off balance and with the dopes and the treatments, everything is screwed up.
Well, give me some of the dopes and treatments. So, what's a common thing that they're giving or doing to their bees they shouldn't be doing?
Well, let's put it this way. There's two ways to look at it. There's what's legal state by state for what you could put in a beehive, and then there's what I call the kickaboo joy juice for what they're doing on the side that nobody wants to know about, that if they see an inspector coming, they run, duck, hide, and they know nothing, because it could be anywhere, thing from formaldehyde to you name it being thrown in the beehive or interlaced with stuff that might not even be approved for 10, 15 years down the road.
And it's for what? Just more yield, to make more workers, to get the queens to produce more honey? I mean, what is the goal?
I have no idea, because they're trying to keep their bees alive, and all they're doing is killing them more and more and more and making a bigger mess. They don't want to do what's right.
Which is?
Be clean and sustainable with everything working together.
Okay, well, give me an example. Everything working together. What does that mean?
What does it mean? It means the beekeeper has to adopt, again, a positive attitude aimed at eliminating, correcting the underlying causes, which means you have to go back to ground zero, know what was done that got all the crap going, and then redo it and put the bees back down in size. See, okay, it goes back to, the first Great Depression, back around 1900. And see, what people don't understand is the size of the bee is correlated with the capacity of the cell. Small bee, big cell, big bee, and the size remains the same. But as the bees get bigger and they forage different, the composition of everything based on the size of the cell in the bee's body changes due to what you eat. And here we go again. And then if it changes for what the bees eat, it changes for all animals, including humans. And you're either healthy or you're sick.
So the advocacy you're doing is a lot of this stuff is making the bee sick, us sick. It's all about sick, and then I got something sick, and we need more chemicals to make it less sick. It's going
back, putting them in tune with nature again, which is a breakout for all animals and plants on Earth by latitude and altitude, by climate, which is controlled by temperature and rains, and then how to work with it. It's like the old cliche, you follow the bloom, and when you follow the bloom and you do things right, working in harmony with nature, you get what you want and you stay healthy. Why is that so hard?
That's why I got you on.
Wants to help get things proper if they lose their money pool.
If you go to Iowa, I tell you, you haven't really experienced what he's talking about until you go to Iowa. And you go to Iowa, and as we travel during the presidential election cycles and so on, it is horizon to horizon to horizon of green corn fields. It's like you're literally in a green ocean, and it's one crop, and oftentimes one strain. And then the only time I would see any difference on the side of the road, you would see these plots, these fields that would have Monsanto GMO test field, as if that wasn't going to pollinate and cross everything else around it. And they would spread them around, wanting them to infect the other crops so that later when they do, they can, sue them for violating their patent or something. And I'm going, how can a monocrop like that of an entire state, just an ocean of corn, give the diversity to the insect kingdom? I'm just wondering, what kind of impact does that have on things, something as simple as bees, Dee?
It destroys them. After a while, animal on Earth can live with one single nutrient. Humans can't do it. Bees can't do it. Nothing can do it.
Okay.
It all has to work together.
Well, in Arizona, a lot of the bees they have out in the outskirts, they keep their hives, here in Arizona, they're going out in the desert and getting a wide variety of, wild flowers. And this is what happens in Arizona. People don't know. Winter, summer, spring, fall, whenever. It rains. And the next day or a week, you got oceans of flowers. Now, then, of course, they'll dry up and go away later. But, something's pollinating. So how much of the bees are just dependent on the wildlife here and how much on crops?
Well, you can't separate it that way. It don't work that way in life.
So
you don't draw a dividing line. They interact for what they want and what they need based on what requirements are for nutrition. And bees have always been that way. That's why we've always followed them for vitamins, minerals, health, and everything else.
There's one thing, the healing aspects, different bee products. We had, I think we talked about this last time you were on. We were at a festival up in the mountains. We were camping, and a friend of mine had an ulcerating infection on his abdomen. It was he picked a scab, whatever, something, and it got really bad. And there was a guy there that was selling just natural. You cut off the end of the wax and drain it on a cookie sheet into a jar of honey. I got some here. It's great. Here's your honey. Let me tell you how natural it is. It dripped out of the comb, and there it is. All right. So one of the older gentlemen there says, all you need is some of that honey. Put it under the bandage. The next day, the redness went away and it started to close up. The next day, and it wasn't sticky. It's like something happened to the honey. It got absorbed into the body.
Right.
Why does that? What's going on there?
Well, that's what happens. It absorbs into the body. Our body is not as people think. We're a living microorganism of thousands and thousands of bacteria and virus and fungi. We're just a big shell, really, of stuff living within us with our red blood system, our white blood system, and it's just living parasites eating and working together.
So the honey does what? And a lot of people,
it feeds the body.
Well, why is it an anesthetic? I was interested in the infection attributes of it. It's not.
All it's doing is feeding the microorganisms living in the body that then go and fix and regrow new skin and tissue and everything else.
How does honey work on something like, say, burns?
It just revitalizes the skin and everything. So it.
Now, when you they're saying, of course, you always hear these guys who go natural raw honey. Okay, let's say I went to, I didn't get natural raw. What's the difference? How do I say it's natural honey as opposed to it's not natural honey?
Doped and non-natural honey stuff with contaminants in it, like all the different pesticides and stuff that's been done to kill off the living cultures living inside of it.
Oh, okay. Is it just to sell chemicals, or is it to diminish the health benefits of the honey, or both? Is there
both?
So there's a they, them, those that are, kind of involved in this thing?
Some people are into sterilization. You have to overcook everything. But when you overcook everything, you kill everything that feeds your own digestive gut in a human. That's 10,000 or more active bacteria, because it's not the brain that controls the human body. It's the gut feeding all the vital organs to keep you alive. And if you destroy what's in the gut by killing your different bacteria and fungi and everything else the body's using, you destroy your own health because you can't feed your vital organs.
Hey, man, well, then the last decade or so, what do I got? I got all these, certainly in the last 3 years, I got all these companies want to sell me probiotics. You know, we killed off everything, but now here's...
Well, you got to control. You can't get it free from nature. Why have it free from nature? And if bees work to keep it free in nature, you got to control it.
You know, so here's your bottle of, you get to put more, you know, flora in your gut. You know, you go buy my bottle.
Why buy a bottle if you can have bees go out and get it yourself naturally?
Okay, so that's, you know, we're going to get us some bees. Now, if I had a single hive, a single, you know, 18-inch cube or whatever they are, and I put that out in the back, how much honey
am I...
An
18-inch cube, that's not even a baby bee.
Okay, so how many of those do I need? 4?
18 inches? You want an 18 by 21 by about 10 inches high, 5 deep.
Okay, so 5 of those.
Yeah.
Okay, so I get 5 of those. How much honey am I getting a year?
Depends on the year and the rains.
Well, I mean, you know, give me an idea. I can, you know, I get 1 jar, I get 400 jars. I mean, what am I looking at?
Well, let's put it this way. It used to be average, about 60, 65 pounds if it's about 4 deep. But a lot of people would work 5 and 6. They'd keep their hives strong, and then they'd take honey with the main flows. They'd never take below the 3rd box because everything there would be for the bees themselves. And yet they still get anywhere from 60, and if they got a double take, they might get 120 pounds.
Okay, so let's put it this way, more than I'm going to consume.
Well, all the pioneer families normally had... Like I say, they wouldn't have 1. They'd have a backup to a backup, so they'd have a minimum of 2, and a lot of them would keep 5 to 10 because they do canning and preserves, and they use it for parties and everything else, besides feeding their other livestock to keep them healthy with their horses and chickens and goats. And
well, tell me about sales. I mean, is there a regulation on the sale of raw honey?
Well, of course. You got to regulate everything today.
Does there need to be really? I mean, you know, the regulation, they go, no, you got to be regulated because it's too natural. I mean, I don't understand. They go like, you don't have enough crap. You know, I tell you where this equates to. It's like,
hey, we're the ones being clean that are told to prove it's clean, where I don't see them telling the people putting the dopes in to prove how bad it's contaminated.
Well, it's kind of like the raw milk discussion. I mean, nope, you got to kill everything that's good in the milk so that you can, you're allowed to sell it or something.
Why kill it if it makes it a negative for having in the body then?
Here we go. Done. Thank you. I'm glad we got you to come back and talk about this a little bit because I was really interested in the response from the industry going after that show. I never had that happen before. And I'm just going, wow, man, they must hate you or me or something. You know, they did not want this be associated in any way with what you had to say. And I wonder if it's out of fear or competition or they just don't like you or something.
No, a lot of them, they don't want you taking stuff from their sites for making and build up outfits. And a lot of people that come down to see me, I've had 2 or 3 that wanted me to sign contracts saying what they did filming me at my conferences that I paid for, they have a right to sell, use, and then tell me what to do, and I tell them go to hell.
Oh, okay. Well, see, our thing, what we've done, all the stuff that we do, has been the decentralization of any kind of controls and regulation. It's just, individuals learn what the truth is about uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's our theme.
Well, the main thing for doing that, then, see, that's what I started out with this vanishing of the bees bit. It was just going to be us, and I paid for them to come out here a few times, and then other people seeing it, they had to jump on the bandwagon, and it got to be another whole thing. They don't want the clean side out. And it's just basics, and no one wants to go really in with the basics.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're sharing it with us.
I mean, you're allowed to come down and photograph and see, but photographing and seeing, I mean, this is like Krasimir coming back from Bulgaria again. This is his second trip, And yet I've had some like Eric Osterlin that worked with Brother Adam out here 5, 6, 7 different times, and they're still just now getting into it really for what has to be done and doing it. And yet it's basic hands-on doing, and there's nobody doing it. And one by one, we're all dying off as we get older, or with the pressure, they're just selling their outfits off and forgetting it.
Well, if you got people that, you have somebody who just wants to sell some of their, get a hive, kind of come take it, do it, pick up truck, put it on a trailer and go, I'm in. We got a lot of people up here. We can go down.
I don't sell because it's just me working. And
not necessarily you. I mean, there's a competitor, people, farmers, friends, somebody calls you, wants to get rid of, let me know.
Okay. Well, I work in the field 12, 14-hour days. And as soon as I get done talking to you, I'm running outside, getting in my truck, and I'm driving 2 counties over down to Benson from where I'm at, which is an hour and a half, 2-hour drive, just to work today.
What are you going to be doing?
Working bees to make sure they're okay, because even though they say Benson in the area has gotten rain, it's not like they think. It's certain areas have gotten rain, but certain areas you're hoping they got enough food to feed. And seeing this is brood nest turnover time where they go from short-lived bees to long-lived bees, and I'm making sure they got the food in the stores to do what they have to do so then they can build up and come on for fall again.
Well, to supplement their nutrition or give them something, what do you do? Just, a block of sugar and water or what?
Hell no, that's artificial crap. You don't do it.
Well, what do you do?
That'll kill them. That's when you have to have 15 to 20 hives in the yard, and you work with the strong to the weak, and you balance back and forth with each helping each other out, so you have a sustainable yard. And then you got to learn how to pick your yard on site as to how it lays with the washes and the arroyas and the vegetation and stuff, so you do have food. And then you've got to learn when to work them up, when to work them down, and you just have to follow the rains and the climate each year and how it varies, because you cannot follow a calendar like most say.
So you're moving the hive?
No.
What are you doing? What do you take to supplement their nutrition?
I might go from a strong one that might have surplus I'd bring home, and instead of bringing it home, I'll give it to the weak ones.
Give what? The honey?
The food, yeah.
Okay, you're assuming
honey
I know what
and
you're
pollen. I might give them some brood. You just trade what they need to make sure they've got everything. Bees are social insects. You'll have to learn to work with them.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to getting learnified. All right. Well, we'll see you in November. We'll stay in touch, Dee. Thank you.
But you've got to seriously not keep going over the top. You need to get into the basic biological more and the basics as to have set up for what you're talking about, and then succeedingly go deeper and deeper and deeper for what you talk.
You're going to have a lot of people wanting to go deep when we get down there. A lot of questions. We're going to get it all understood. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.